Good morning, one and all. Welcome to our students, loyal students, bright students. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today, Wednesday, the 27th of September, the month really flying and the year flying in the year 2023. Welcome, one and all. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whichever part of the world you are tuned into this podcast. Welcome and welcome. Share the live. Don't be selfish. Let people know that we're here. We scheduled a little late this morning. Some people were worried. They called me to find out if you were still on. Yes, we're on. We're going to be here. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that we're here to give you the information, to do the teaching because it is necessary. So this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's be grateful. Let's be thankful for being in the land of the living. Today is a beautiful day. Every day that you wake and you see a new day, it's a beautiful day. You are privileged. We are privileged to be in the land of the living, and we must give praise and thanks. We must give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us this beautiful privilege. We have so much to talk about this morning. And I got some good news for you at the end of the program. Of course, throughout the program, we're going to bring you credible, valid news. But at the end, we have some special news for you. I'm sure that you are going to enjoy it very, very much. Don't preempt anything and try to find out what it is. Wait until class is coming to an end, or class has almost ended. Then we are going to let you know. But today, since last night, a railing and a riling up And I was thinking about doing a live last night to address a particular issue. But I said, let me wait. Let me wait until this morning, and then I am going to deal with it. As a result of that, some of the things that we wanted to discuss this morning will be deferred to another day. They will be deferred because when issues are topical, you got to hit the iron when it is hot. And that is what I intend to do. That is what we intend to do this morning. So welcome one and all. Welcome one and all. And as is customary now, when it comes to this roll call thing, oh my man, people are going to do the roll call in a short while. But to let you know, because people have been asking, and we're going to start reintroducing corporal punishment. In other words, you're going to get licks because people are in schoolyard on Monday. People were in the schoolyard on Monday. And I did announce that because we had an engagement, we had an appointment, we had a date with the court, we would not have been on Monday. You remember that? Would you recall that the program, we didn't have a program Wednesday because I had court, and then we put that for Thursday. And on Thursday, when we spoke to you, we said no program on Monday because Monday was court. So the reason why we weren't here on Monday was because we were in court. Myself, Mr. Conway, and the other co-defendants. But I must say, after 2 years, 4 months, and 5 days, the trial in this trumped-up conspiracy to commit fraud charge has finally started. After 2 years, 4 months, and 5 days, I ain't gonna give you hours and minutes and seconds. But after all that time, on Monday, the trial commenced, and the state or the prosecution called 2 witnesses. Not going to go into any detail because, as we say, the matter is sub judice, just to say that the matter has started, and the next court date is the 9th of this month. Initially, it should have been on the 2nd, but the magistrate indicated because of some issues, it's not going to be on the 2nd any longer. It's going to be on the 9th. So part of the good news, now this is not the whole good news, part of the good news is because there will be no court on Monday. We are going to have, as it is now, God's willing, I must say, God's willing, we're going to have a program next Monday, which is the 2nd of October. And as I said, that is not the good news, right? So that is why we weren't here on Monday, but just to bring you, we're going to keep you informed. We're going to keep you abreast of what is going on. So many times these people, they like news blackout. They like secrecy. So people are not aware of what is going on, and then they slip in and they capitalize on that. But no. We are going to let you know what is going on. Now, as I've said that, let me move on, and let me do the roll call right away. Because people are anxious to know who in school, and I noted some people, regulars, weren't here this morning, but we can hear if the parents send excuse to them and all those type of things. We gotta wait. We gotta start to get a little strict with this attendance, even though the numbers are encouraging, very high numbers. But if you're coming to school, you gotta come to school, and if you can't come to school for any reason, you gotta have your parents provide an excuse, a valid and credible excuse, right? So don't come with no salawala. We ain't taking that. We are not gonna take that. And we gotta, as I said, the introduction, the man said this is a comedy show. Well, oh God, I said the man, not the man, the thing, the Sidewinder, the Volkswagenist said this is a comedy show. And they're looking at, they tune into the comedy show. So he's got to give this build up and give them time to tune in, turn on the tape recorder and do all of that, because they are here with us. They come in and they're trying to troll and so on. They're here. Welcome them. But I've said before, this is not a democracy. And once they come and they're insultive, once they come and they use it expletive, it's black, they're getting black, and we're done with them. I ain't wasting time. I am not going to waste time with these goats, and perhaps there's an insult to goats, but we're not going to waste time with them. First student in this morning at 9:15, that's almost immediately the program schedule was June. Then Aileen came in. But Aileen, I'm going to talk to you about the cricket a little later this morning, man. Just before we done the roll call, we're going to talk about the cricket. Then we had my girl Tessa is here, never missing a class. Kevin came in very early. Then we had Denise came in at 9:17. Brian, and another one of my favorite girls, Charlene. Welcome, Charlene. Was here very, very this morning. Then we had Colin. Colin came in class. And old police, Ulrich. Welcome, Ulrich. Welcome. I'm going to talk about the cricket in a short while, man. I'm going to talk about cricket. I know you're anxious to hear my views on the cricket, and I'll give some views on it. Vibert is here. Family music. Roll George, the red man, came in very early this morning. Winston is from California. He's here this morning. Jakey, every Wednesday, man. Jakey is the boy. And then we have Maureen, Desiree, from Georgia, all the way from the Peach State, Georgia. Lucius is here as well, regular. Sydney is here. Stian is here. Stian called me this morning. He said, Skipper, I did the schoolyard and the gate lock. What's going on? So I tell you, bear your chief. You're gonna let you in a short while. Then we had Emerson came in this morning. He's from Manhattan, New York, the big city, the big apple. Mandela came into class, always present. My boy, Rohan. Rohan is always a very respectful. Welcome, Rohan. And then look what Mandela came back to say. Mandela came back to say that he hoped we weren't selling mangoes by the market and got we jumping over the fence. Well, Mandela, don't get disrespectful, or you're going to get a 6. You're going to lean over and get a 6. Colin is here. Welcome, Colin. Vernon is here. Barled is a regular too. Barled said he's looking for notification and he wanted to know what really happened. Then we had Speaking Truth to Power. Speaking Truth. Philip Edgel. I remember asking Philip about a sort of relationship. He said, no, me and in the clan. Philip. John Cummins is here, very regular. Michael Brower, ex-sergeant. He's all the way from the British Virgin Islands. What's his number? 14126. The squatter is 14141. So that is squatty. Open up the rub off on you. Then we have Stephen is here. Sandra came into class very early. She patiently waiting. Como, 8218 from New Jersey is here. Como, I see all Olan from the Senator Menendez. The man get gold bars and the man get a whole set of money in the house there. Like he related to them Jagabats, right? Like he related to them. The man get gold bars and have some foolish excuse. So we got to talk about all them things at some subsequent time. Then we had Jacko from Georgia is here. Schwartzy is here. It was in class. My squad mate Doreen from Canada is here. Bert came in early. Courtney came in at 10:12. Then we had my next squad mate Sheila. Sheila, I noted the your statement and I'll deal with it a little while from now. Yvonne, welcome. Then Sean, I was wondering when I saw the thing went live and Sean wasn't there early. I was wondering if he's not going to attend class, but then there was no need to worry. Sean is always here. Queenie from West Coast Borbis is here as well. Barbara B is here. Then we had Ronald is here, waiting patiently. Frances is here. She said she tried to hydrate. Exactly. I get me water. Here. You got to keep hydrated. Raheem is here. Chilo is in class. Chilo, don't miss anything. Brennan, class. Grace is here. Pamela, another regular. Evelyn, in class. Isabella, welcome. Gordon, 6659 from Canada, is here in class. DJ Ice Rider, from the East Bank in the house. I'm an East Bank man originally, you know. Then you have Pauline McPherson is here in class. Joan is here. Philip is here. Evangelina, Charles Britton, Rhonda, Magnell, my squad mate, 9390, Carol is here as well. Then we have David. Then we had my boy from all the way from the UK, Chicken Beard. Then we had Fort Valley is in class. What he said? He said they're waiting standby detective class, button, whistle, and pocketbook, ready to jail some folks. Anne, welcome, Anne. I missed you for a couple sessions. Anne is back in class. Rhonda is here. Corinne, welcome. Corinne, welcome. Rhonda, Rhonda, as I said before, Raheem came back, permission to join, permission granted. Then we had Carlton. Carlton, don't miss out. Neil is here again. Lynette from Barbados. Yeah, she's from Barbados. She said that. George Calder, my countryman, is in class. All of these people in class, all of these people in class. But let me move on, and then we'll come back to identify some more of our students to big them up, as you would say. Now, where do I start? Where do I start? I want to start by, well, I said I'm going to tell you something about the cricket, but before I go to cricket, we like to make, well, not that we like to, we have to make these sad announcements. We did inform you of the passing of retired Superintendent Malcolm McPherson, 6631. McPherson passed away at the age of 83. And information is that he will be buried on Saturday. That's all we get. The body will be at Jerrick's funeral home on the East Coast on Saturday. I don't have any timing and all of that, but Saturday coming will be McPherson's funeral. And then we have the announcement of the death of former member, he has a long name, Roy Oliver Maxwell Bristol, better known as Maxie Bristol. Maxie Bristol is also known as Super Cop. His regulation number was 8940, I understand. Some people say 43, but I think it's 8940 was his number. And then I remember Maxie in my earlier days as a recruit, he was a member of what we used to call them the police flying squad. Those boys flying around with a motorcycle and doing outriding and so on with the leggings and looking slick, the leggings and the helmet and so on. They were so respected. And many of us younger policemen looked up and wanted to be a part of that group. They were so outstanding. I remember Maxie, Ronald Stewart, Elton Washington, Archibald, and all of those guys as part of that elite group. So Maxie passed away, and I understand that they have an information that wake will be, they say wake tomorrow. They didn't say when is the funeral, but the wake tomorrow will be from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. and the location is Legacy Loft, 9302 Ditmas Avenue, Brooklyn. So Maxie as passed. And we also have to announce, sadly, the death of retired Special Sergeant, woman Special Sergeant, Valerie Crandon. Valerie used to be at the police finance office, very slim, petite persons, very stern individual. Those of us who had any interaction or engagement with her, we know she didn't take any stupidness. So Valerie passed recently, and condolences to the relatives, friends of all of those deceased persons. And of course, we had to the Libya flooding that we have been telling you about for the past couple of weeks, and therefore the result now is that between 4,000 to 10,000 persons have died in that tragic flood. I understand some officials, from reading yesterday, some officials were arrested, partly for negligence and all of that. So let's see where that will go. On the brighter side, happy birthday greetings to a regular on the program, Winston Padmore, Paddy. Winston Padmore. Paddy, if I'm correct, I think your number was 8401. I remember these numbers, 8401 Padmore, I think 8402 was Pitt. And I remember Pitt Padmore, Pitt Pantless in that grouping. So happy birthday to you, Paddy. Hope you have a wonderful day. Also, I want to extend birthday greetings to my neighbor, my cousin, and a regular on this program, Trifosa Williams. We know her as Fafine. So she's celebrating her natal day today. Happy birthday to all of those persons, whether I mention it or not, who are observing or who are celebrating their natal day today. And we also have some belated greetings, people who recently celebrated the birthday. I think yesterday my squad mate Taylor, who is a regular in this program as well, 9556, celebrated a birthday. We also had Ann Thompson, retired woman, I think she was deputy police officer. She celebrated a birthday yesterday. Retired Chief of Staff, Eddie Collins, celebrated a birthday yesterday as well. And even before that, retired Senior Superintendent Patrick Robin, 9697. Patrick Robin had a birthday recently. I want to wish all of you long life, strength, prosperity, and continue to be in the land of the living, continue to do well. And moving on, having said that, I want to best wishes to a regular on this program who has been noticeably absent for the past couple of weeks. Then I was informed that she was not well. I referred to the person that we call on this program the secretary, Denise Booker. Denise was ill. I understand, however, that she is making some progress. She's recovering, speedy recovery. I want to wish her a speedy recovery and to hope that she can be here to do her secretarial work very soon. Also, I learned this morning that a squad mate of mine, Everett Lilly, is recovering, is recuperating after a period of illness. I want to wish all of you speedy recovery, and those of you who are students in this class, that you're able to attend classes very soon. Now, moving on, we talk about CPL. Let me tell you something about CPL. Congratulations to the Warriors. And this page just sent out congratulations to the Warriors. But let me tell you this. I can't say I'm a Warrior fan. I'm a cricket fan. And the whole thing is that with franchise cricket, it's just that, franchise cricket. So to get too excited about the fact that because the name of the country is associated with the franchise, I prefer when you are represented by people from your country, I'm gonna be more overjoyed then. But if you look at the final, for example, throughout the tournament, you had Pakistani, you had the man who performed outstandingly well during the tournament, Pakistani, the opener. Then you had in the final, you have Pretorius, a South African. You had Fisher, I shouldn't call you that, the name Smith, Odin Smith, a Jamaican. You had Shea Hope, an outstanding performer during the tournament, about Abidjan. So you had, it's a mixture. It's what we used to call back in the day, Ulrich and CC. You can't pick and play. You pick for who get first pick, who get second pick, you pick and play. That's basically what the CPL and these franchises are about. You put up your paws, so you get first pick, you get second pick, and you pick the players that you believe will do well. So again, Guyana needs some celebration, and anything, I guess, will do. We have been going through so much in recent times, in particular. Congratulations to them. But as I said, I'm not going to get too overexcited over a franchise victory, right? And then for those of you following the cricket, a matter of fact, I did people, I get my iPad nearby or people in the match going on in India between Australia and India. Australia batted first and made 350 something. India chasing what I get. Let me people see 250 for 6 off of 49.3 overs. So it looked like Australia gonna pull off this one. So yeah, so we have that. So the cricket. And let me say this for the last week, I think it was, I did announce the venues for the ICC T20 2024 have been announced. And Guyana is one of the venues. You have venues in the United States. And looking at it, the venues are for the Caribbean. And this is the countries, not the countries. You have Antigua and Barbados, Dominica, Guyana, St. Lucia, Trinidad and Tobago, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. Those are the venues for the ICC T20 2024. Now, no need to get excited because here Guyana is listed. You have to now wait to see the schedule because you might very well be only listed at a warm-up venue. So some of these countries here are going to be warm-up venues. In other words, they get little people warming up, little practice, and people don't put any effort into warm-up matches. You just go there and you carry through the movement. So let's see when the schedule is released, and then I guess we'll have time to celebrate. Well, let me bring in my colleague, CC, who is waiting patiently in the studio. CC, welcome.
Good morning. Morning to you, morning to listeners or viewers. Always say happy to be in the land of the living. I endorse your statements for those persons who celebrated birthday. Condolences to those persons who passed away, their relatives and friends. And congratulations to the franchise team, the Warriors. I hope that they will be consistent.
Yeah, it's about consistency.
In terms of winning. Yeah.
Right. You see, the next thing too is about who are the players that will be retained and who are the players will be picked, because it's franchise. And at some stage, you're going to go to the auction. And but even before the auction, you'll have to decide who you're retaining. And then you'll have to pick players. So you don't know if these same players are going to return. Now, let me move on. And I want to tell you, today is the 27th, and they have this conference in Washington, D.C., where the members of the opposition are to meet with the minority leader, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries. Now it has generated a lot of interest, because I see the government ran out last week or before the last to try to get in force to get their say, and then the opposition are now in opposition members are now in DC, and they're going to have their say. But at the end of the day, these people who you are interacting with, whether it is the congressional caucus, they will listen to you, and they are going to do their own fact checking and investigation. So people getting nervous and people saying kind of thing. Forget about all of that. You made your case. That's the government made a case. Say there is no discrimination, and this is an all-inclusive government, whatever that means. Now the opposition will get a chance to make their case. It's a debate, so they're going to go and say, no, this is not what happened. I suspect they're going to produce evidence to support the cause. And the people are not going to take anybody's word at face value. They are going to do their investigation. And they say facts are stubborn things. So when facts are presented, that is what they're going to go by. So I don't know what the vice president and all them jumping out and making all kind of noise and all sort of thing. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? If you're performing so well and you're so inclusive and there's no discrimination and all of that, then the evidence will bear you out. The evidence, but it's obvious to me that the fact that you're jumping and making all this noise, you're not comfortable that the evidence is there to support your case. You can't. And I saw somebody wrote yesterday, I think it was, that Mr. Hakeem Jeffrey should be careful of the people that he interact with. And I'm going to write a beautiful thing this morning. He said, yes, he must be careful because a few weeks ago, he interacted with people who were accused of genocide. He interacted with people who were charged with fraud and all that. He said, yes, indeed, you have to be careful with whom he interacted with. And, this morning or last night, we saw on the news that opposition member of parliament, Mr. David Patterson, was leaving Guyana to go to the conference, the same thing in Washington. I think he's listed to do a presentation. And the immigration authorities prevented him from leaving. The immigration authorities blocked him from leaving. And hear what it says here. Let me go into this thing, man. Let me read what it says here. A partnership for national unity, Alliance for Change AP and U plus AFC parliamentarian David Patterson said immigration officials blocked him from leaving Guyana for United States, where he and other opposition parliamentarians were due to meet with the American congressmen and other officials on the political and economic conditions in Guyana. He said, that's Patterson, he had already cleared customs and immigrations and was in departure lounge when an immigration officer later approached him and informed him that he could not leave Guyana. That was about 30 minutes afterwards. An immigration officer approached and informed me that immigration made a mistake in allowing me to proceed. He said there was a no-fly order on me in the system, and asked that I accompany them to speak to the officer on duty. The thing goes on to say, Attorney at Law Nigel Hughes, who had told what was transpired, after informing Attorney Nigel Hughes what was transpired, the lawyer spoke with immigration officers who told him that there was no court order blocking his departure, but someone placed a note in the system. That is what they're saying. When contacted Wednesday morning, Mr. Hughes told Demerara Waves online news that he would be filing legal proceedings. It goes on to say, according to Mr. Patterson, the lawyer reminded the immigration officers that there were several court rulings that prohibits persons from being denied the right to travel without an expressed court order. The AP and UAFC lawmaker reported that the immigration officers said that they were aware of those court rulings, but there was nothing they could do. And they're quoting it to say they were powerless unless they received instructions from a senior rank. Attempts to contact senior ranks was unsuccessful. That is what they say. And let me remind you before I bring in Mr. Conway here. It was last year late that Justice Navindra Singh, right, say that hold on, let me find it. Let me find. I like read these things. It was last year late that Justice Navrinder Singh ruled, and it says the Supreme Court. This is an article in Chronicle on the 1st of January this year, New Year's Day, that Justice Singh ruled that the Guyana police force does not have the authority to blacklist persons from leaving the jurisdiction. The landmark ruling stemmed from a constitutional challenge filed in the High Court by the Police Finance Office, a woman senior superintendent, Marceline Washington, who is currently before the court on a conspiracy charge allegedly defrauding the state of $5 million. And the applicant, that is Washington, said to our lawyer that the inclusion of our name on such a list is capricious, vexatious, malicious, abuse of power, unconstitutional, unlawful, ultra-virus, and in excess of their jurisdiction. Let me read you some remarks from the judge. The judge said, Justice Singh in his ruling found that the Guyana police force cannot restrict the movement of any person around or out of Guyana unless such restriction is provided for in the laws of Guyana or pursuant to an order of the court. The respondent in this case is Washington, had denied the respondent, that would have been the police, the AG, and the police, had denied that Washington was blacklisted from traveling beyond the borders of Guyana, but rather asserted that the Immigration Department of the Guyana Police Force would formulate and quote, an administrative list of all persons charged with an indictable offense. They contended that this is done as a protocol and guidance to the Immigration Department, and if such persons attempt to travel at the border point, those persons are usually advised to seek the permission of the court. All this is rubbish what it's saying. It goes on to say, that's what Justice Singh said. Justice Singh, however, found that it was clear that the names of persons charged with an indictable offense are placed on a list. Whether it is called a blacklist or an administrative list is wholly irrelevant. Additionally, the judge said, by creating such a list, the Guyana police force, or the respondents in this case, have determined that the law authorizes them to limit the movement of such persons solely because they have been charged with indictable offenses. And so the judge made it clear that no such authority is reposed in the Guyana police force under any written law, and they woefully misconstrued themselves. That is what it is. So when last night I saw that Mr. Patterson was prevented from leaving, I wanted to know, I was anxious to know under what grounds. Under what grounds? And so let me bring in, well, I saw something a while ago. Let me say this before I bring in Mr. Conway. The chief immigration officer in Guyana is the commissioner of police. Whoever that person is the commissioner of police. So we never had a she. He bears responsibility. Can't get away from this. And then I say here, and the explanation doesn't make much sense to me. But before I go further, I want to argue the bully. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his take on this thing. CC, what is your take on this issue where Mr. Patterson was prevented from leaving the country? That's a clear constitutional violation of his right.
I totally agree with you, Paul. And I always like to refer to the Constitution, I like to look where the authority lies. And if you look at Article 148 of the Constitution, it talks about, it said, no person shall be deprived of his or her freedom of movement. That is to say, the right to move freely throughout Guyana, the right to reside in any part of Guyana, the right to enter Guyana, and the right to leave Guyana, and immunity from expulsion from Guyana. Article 148 of the Constitution talks about that. And in addition to that, the same Constitution 148D talks about it talks about if a person is to be prevented, it must be a court order. The court can order here that you have to stay to attend court or to attend some preliminary investigation or something. That is only the court can give that what they call fly order to stop you from leaving the country. It's written in the constitution. We had several cases. I remember years ago they had the custom chief Chu, when he was prevented, and he filed action, and he won his case. The thing is that a court has got to pass the order. You can't stop me. And I see some nonsense recently that coming from the squatter, or I said the extended squatter, saying that Patterson's name was mistakenly left on the no fly documents. First thing, how his name got on there? How his name got on there? And Patterson was charged for a very simple offense. Was no real indictable offense for exposing his genitals. That's what he was charged with, and because of that, you preventing him from leaving the country. You gotta go to the court if you want to prevent somebody. Go to the court. Paul, you had the issues where you have to go to the court, and where the attorney general himself opposed you leaving the country. The court has the power to restrict your movements, to say, hey, you can't go because of X, Y, and Z. And I repeat, Article 148, talking about the protection of freedom of movement, that you're free to leave. And if the police want to stop you, they have to go to the court to decide that.
Well said. Before I make a comment, I noted on the live we have Denise, the secretary. So Denise, welcome on the live, and I wish you a speedy recovery. I'm so happy to see that you're on the live this morning. Get well soon, my sister. And let me say this: as you said, I haven't read it. It just came out that the squatter says that Patterson's name was mistakenly left on the list. What rubbish is that? From the time this court order was made, from the time the judge ruled, sometime late last year, this is the 9th month, all of those names should have been removed. From the time the judge ruled that the police have no authority to put people on a no-fly list or a blacklist or an administrative list, whatever you call it, all of the names of persons so put on that list should have been removed. The list should have been scrubbed of all those names. So to come more than 9 months after to tell people, oh, well, Patterson's name was left there mistakenly, they ain't flying. And let me say this. I am of the view that the Immigration Department of the Guyana Police Force is one of the few departments that brings a lot of credit. They are very efficient and effective. I have had interactions with them frequently because I travel a lot. And they are always very polite and so on. And the system is that if Mr. Patterson's name was on that no-fly list, as they call it, or that administrative list, there is no way he would have gotten past those persons at the counter. There is no way he would have gotten past them to go into the departure lounge and all of that. So they're trying to throw somebody under the bus. Those people would have seen it. They would have seen it, and having seen it, they would have told Mr. Patterson, because he said they were very polite to him. He did say that sorry, sir, for whatever reason, he can't travel. They would have, I had that interaction when I first, after I went to court, well, the second occasion, I went to court and I got an order to travel out of the jurisdiction. When I went there, the girl looked into the system. She saw my name in the system. And of course, there was some delay. And I then had the written court order, the hard copy. So when the inspector came and I showed him the written court order, he tell him, okay, let Mr. Slow travel, because it was in the system. And that was before this ruling. And I'm saying that once this ruling was made by Justice Navin, just saying all the names on that list should have been scrubbed. All the names should have been scrubbed. And they're trying to throw somebody under the bus with this puerile explanation. Puerile. I have said the thing, the buck lies with the commissioner, who is the chief immigration officer. And I have a strong suspicion, the way how things work, that instructions, or whatever they say, would have been given after he checked through the immigration. It would have put on that thing after he checked through and gone into the departure lounge. Because again, I say, if his name was there, there is no way that thing getting past those persons there to allow him to pass that point. they would not have allowed him to pass that point. But the fact that he passed that point suggests to me that his name was not there. And it's somebody then afterward put his name on the thing. That is what we're going on as a police state you're operating in. You're gradually becoming a police state when all of these things that happen. And these things are not isolated. They're not an aberration, a matter like this. Because remember, only a few months ago, or a few weeks, I think, a few months, the Police Complaints Authority said that the man who is squatting there is breaking the law. That's the Police Complaints Authority Justice retired Ramlal said so just a few short months ago. And if you recall, even before that, I reported on this program that the man who is squatting there has been arbitrarily dismissed in ranks and the force. I recall on the 5th of July last year, in the wake of this Bacchus murder, 3 ranks appeared in court for various charges. Damian McLennan, Simon, and Dinabriga. On the very day they appeared in court, on the 5th of July, they were dismissed from the force. On the very day. So there was no presumption of innocence. There was no natural justice. And the same man, the same squatter doing that. And then you had the incident early this thing in the Barbies, where an officer misplaced, according to the commander, his firearm. I think they find it up to now. And 3 constables were summarily dismissed for that matter. No hearing, no presumption of innocence, no natural justice. And it's the same man again. And then only recently, only in this month, early this month, I saw something where a female special constable was dismissed arbitrarily. So I say that this thing where they define the court order and putting people's name on blacklists and all of that is not an aberration. And what? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. The thing says that the lawyer representing Mr. Patterson is going to go to court. You're going to court. You're going to get damages for your violation of your constitutional right. Who's going to pay? It's we, the Guyanese people, will have to pay. We, Guyanese taxpayers, will have to pay that. And the violators will sit there and continue to violate, and they will not do anything. As a matter of fact, they are going to be rewarded because we have seen that. We have seen that in the likes of Ramana, violating people's rights, arresting lawyers, advising the client, and promoted. The same man, the same squatter, doing all of this, and he must stay on constitutional extension. So again, and I'm warning, today or yesterday was Mr. Patterson. Let me stay quiet. All of us, our days are coming. In whatever form, our days are going to come when they are going to do it to us. The day will come. Let me see what else I have to mention it about this same matter. Yeah, let me move on. See, I want to invite you to, I know you're familiar with this red thread issue. So briefly, let me enlighten people about this red thread letter. Now, red thread wrote a letter which was published, basically saying in this matter on the regional chairman, region number 4, Daniel Siram, he was, and I have some part of it here for Rick to read, is the letter is captioned, it was published on the 22nd of September in Stabrook News, and it is captioned that why was it necessary to get the advice of the DPP on the Siram case? Why was it necessary? And they said, what is baffling to us though, is why was it necessary to get the advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, as to whether to charge or not? We have dealt with countless domestic violence cases and the DPP was never consulted. Is this a new way of doing things, and should we therefore expect this level of involvement of the DPP going forward when it comes to domestic violence cases? That's a question they ask. Or is it that the law works differently depending on who is involved in the alleged crime? We should not have to ask this or to wonder if some cases are not important enough or others are too important to be dismissed because of who is involved. And yet others are dismissed precisely because they are also important, because of who is involved. The law should be applied evenly without fear or favor. Now, having written that, the DPP's chamber, through the person of the, let me, all right, I have the thing here. I like read them, so you're going to misquote them. There's a letter in the newspaper on the shortly thereafter, and it is signed by one Liz Rahamon. She's the communications officer for the DPP. It's a short letter, so let me read it out. It says, "Dear editor, please publish our letter in response to the published letter on Friday, 22nd of September 2023. Caption, why was it necessary to get the advice of the DPP on Daniel Siram's case? By their own admission, stated in the last line, paragraph 1, it is a criminal offense and no one should be above the law. The representatives of Red Thread are aware that all criminal matters reported to the Guyana Police Force are investigated, that the police files is in keeping with the Constitution of Guyana, Article 187, must be forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecutions for legal advice as the authority vested with the power and responsibility to give legal advice in all criminal cases." That is rubbish. Miss or Mrs. Rahman, that is rubbish. All criminal cases do not have to go to the DPP for criminal for advice. Maybe that is the practice now. But all criminal cases, listen to what this person representing the DPP office is saying, all criminal cases. So let's assume you have a wounding, somebody wound someone, assault causing actual bodily harm, which are all crimes. You saying that those matters have to go to the DPP? No, they don't have to go to the DPP for legal advice. I said on this program before, and let me repeat it, and this is from no other person than Ian Chan. Ian Chan taught us, senior police officers, that where the matters that must be sent to the DPP before a charge is instituted, those matters are clearly identified in the statute, the laws of Guyana. And it will say that no prosecution should be proceeded with unless the fiat of the DPP has been obtained. Unless the advice of the DPP has been obtained. There are offenses that you have to get that fiat before you can proceed. And Ian Chan said, all other matters, you can proceed with charge and later send the file to the DPP for them to review, to see if you've covered all the grounds, to see if the charge is correct, because they can then null pros if they believe that there isn't sufficient evidence, and they can intervene at that stage to get clarification and all of that. So this statement that the communication director or the communications officer is making, that all matters in all criminal cases must go to the DPP, is wrong. That statement is not correct. It cannot stand scrutiny. Many files, many criminal matters, I as commander will institute or direct the charge be instituted, and then after the institution of the charge, you send to for legal advice. Especially, let me make this point, especially in some summary matters, there are crimes, especially that in some summary matters, because you have a 6-month period in summary matters to institute charge, especially if they are not hybrid, either or. In other words, they're not summary as well as indictable. So what will happen? Sometimes it takes a little time to investigate, and the file comes to me 5 months after the incident. You go on your charge because you fear that if you send it for legal advice, it might come back after 6 months, and then you can't institute any charge. If it's a hybrid charge, then you can institute a criminal indictable charge and ask a summary disposal under the Administration of Justice Act. But that statement is incorrect. And let me get CC to come in and to give his view on that. CC, let me hear you on that issue.
Well, the communication personnel quoted Article 187 of the Constitution, and she opined that all matters investigated by the police criminal nature must be sent, and she highlighted all, and she's highlighted must. But when you look at Article 187, you hear what they say? It said, the Director of Public Prosecution, referred to in this article as the Director, shall have power in any case in which he or she considers to do so. A. The institution and to institute and undertake criminal proceedings against any person before any court other than court martial in respect of any offense against the law of Guyana. To take over and continue any such criminal proceedings that may have been instituted by any other person and authority, and C, to discontinue at any stage before judgment is delivered any such criminal proceedings instituted or undertaken by him or any other person or authority. The thing saying that the DPP can institute or undertake any criminal proceedings against anybody. They can take over any case. No, institute proceedings any person apart from court martial. If it's court martial, it is a no. The DPP can't come in there. And the other one, the BPP can take over any matter and continue it, and it could discontinue, like what they did on numerous occasions, discontinue. There's nothing in there saying that all the files investigated by the police must go to the DPP for advice. As you rightly say, there must be a fiat, and the fiat is a command, is an authority where the thing is saying it must be done. That you cannot do certain matters unless you have the DPP's fiat. And I can remember some of them like corrupt transaction with agent, incest, offenses under the Sexual Offences Act, some election offenses. And let me tell you about some offenses under the Sexual Offences Act where the matters got to be sent to the DPP. Section 41(1) said, when an offense under this act is reported to the police shall in every case record and report and conduct an investigation, saying that all the reports that made, police got to record them and conduct an investigation. And they said within 3 months of the complaint being made under subsection 1, A, a charge shall be laid in respect of the report. That within 3 months after the complaint is made, a charge shall be laid. Or the facts, the file relating to the report and investigation shall be sent to the Director of Public Prosecution for advice. So it's saying that if after 3 months in the Sexual Offences Act you did not comply with it, you didn't charge anybody, you have to send the file to the DPP for advice for all those matters. So in terms of taking action, certain matters, as you mentioned, that Mr. Ian China thing, are laid down in the laws saying that you have to get the DPP fiat, and the fiat is an authority. It's saying this must be done. So to write nonsense that all files got to go to DPP, I don't understand that at all. It is not in any law. It is not in the Constitution of Guyana. The Constitution talk of the DPP can institute charge, they can take over matter, they could withdraw, they could null trust, or they could withdraw matters before the court. So, and we coming back to the point. Remember in the Dharamlal matter, where coming out of the DPP that they have thousands and thousands of cases. Maybe that is it, because if they want all the cases to go to the DPP, and if the commanders like conveyor belts, they're not turning back no file. They're not saying, hey, this ain't getting to DPP. Let me deal with this right here, because we don't have to get the DPP's fiat. We don't have to get a permission from the DPP to charge. So anything running to the DPP, and perhaps the DPP, that skill of case management, that they supposed to manage a file hearing. Oh, we only had this file 2 weeks ago, and we're looking at it. And then the police too, they were saying the file gone to DPP when nothing ain't gone to DPP. It ain't even left the police station, And the commanders them also, they are not taking the proper action. They're not looking at the files. They're not reading statements in the report, as the case may be. Just send it DPP for advice, DPP for advice. Maybe that's why we have all those backlog of cases, those thousands of cases lying at the DPP.
Right. I tell you, these students are brilliant. Look, I left it up there for you to see. John C. Paul is asking, what is the purpose or function of the police legal advisor? Isn't that office there to advise the police so that they can institute charge instead or before wasting? Exactly, Mr. C. Paul. Apart from the police themselves, because if you as a commander are not sure, The lead police legal advisor, that is what he's there to advise on before these things go to the DPP. And I repeat, unless the law stipulates that the fiat of the DPP must be obtained, you can deal with it right there at the either CID headquarters level or at the command level. You can deal. So this statement that the communication officer saying that all criminal files, as some people say, that is rubbish. That is not so. So it is important that we give you the valid and credible information on these things. It is very, very important that we do so. Now let me move on to this issue that I wanted to, I alerted you about. He come out, he came out yesterday. And let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me put up what I'm talking about. Bear with me. Bear with me. Look, they say, who are talking about? Dharam Lal came out. Look what he posted yesterday afternoon. I was alerted by Facebook that a post is there with my name and I looked at it. Good afternoon, friends. This is Dharam Lal. Dear citizens, dear Aztec citizens, is this the same Paul Slow who is the APNU AFC mouthpiece? He asking the question, free speech is here to stay, one love. And then he posted an article, Paul Slow slapped with fraud, sexual assault charges, released on bail. Dharam Lal, that despicable character, he showing shades at me. Well, let me tell you, and I'm not, as I'm said, I have nothing to be fearful. I have nothing to be ashamed of. It is true that Paul Slow is charged for fraud. It is true that Paul Slow is charged with sexual offenses. But let me break it down for you. Because Dharam Lal, this despicable character, I got some adjectives to describe him. But I want to leave it there for you to see what is this person is saying. The same Dharam Lal who was accused of rape, he was accused of grooming a 16-year-old indigenous girl, and he was accused also of let me hold on. Y'all all bear with me a while. Yeah, the same Dharam Lal, he was accused, and forgive me, calling the law, he was accused, this is what the law says, he was accused of buggering the girl. And don't feel offended, because hear what section 353 of the Criminal Law Offences Act of Guyana says. Everyone who commits buggery, either with a human being or with any other living creature, shall be guilty of a felony and liable to imprisonment for life. No, Marlon, it's not sodomy. That is not what the law said, Marlon. Marlon, let me read it back. I know some of you are Christians, some of you are decent people, and the word might be offensive to you. But that is what the law says. It's still in the law book. Section 353 of the Criminal Law Offences Act of Guyana says, yes, it's sodomy. And therefore, if you write up the charge, you can't put sodomy. You got to write up what the law says. Everyone who commits buggery, either with a human being or with any other living creature, shall be guilty of a felony and be imprisoned for life. Dharam Lal of all people. And let me tell you further. Let me deal with them one at a time. I roll up my sleeve and I'm ready to deal with that thing. This is another thing this morning. We are charged here. So let me show you what in terms of the fraud charge. Let me tell you what the fraud charge is. You read it for yourself. Let me put it up here and I'll read it along with you. Here what the particulars are. And I'm not at liberty to go into the details. This is the same matter that started on Monday. So I'm not going to go into any great details on it. But this is what is alleged. That between the 1st of March 2019 and Tuesday the 7th of July 2020, at the Guyana Police Force Headquarters, Ivlery, Kingston, Georgetown, in the Georgetown Magisterial District in the County of Demerara, conspired together and with other persons unknown to defraud the Guyana Police Force of $10,056,000 Guyana currency by paying Paul Slow, Clinton Conway, Claude Whitaker, George Fraser, and Mark Gilbert the said $10,056,000 without complying with the proper procedures, purportedly to do a review of the standing order, which had already commenced in July 2018 and concluded in March 2019 by the Strategic Planning Unit of the Guyana Police Force. That is what it is saying. That is the charge in terms of the fraud charge. As I've said, We're not going to go into it, but you look at it and see what it says. We cannot go into it because the matter is before the court. And after 2 years, 4 months, and 5 days, the trial finally commenced Monday gone and will continue on the 9th. So we are anxiously looking forward. We are anxiously looking forward to be able to clear. Because remember, we don't have any onus. The onus of proof is not on us, the defendants, all those persons, because in addition to the people who they have there, they also charge uh, Assistant Commissioner Andrews Jr. They haven't mentioned the name in the particulars. They also charge woman Senior Superintendent Marcel Washington. We are all jointly charged, and ASP Kelman. So we are all charged jointly with this conspiracy, this trumped up conspiracy to commit fraud charge. And Dharam Lal, who groomed, raped, and buggered a little 16-year-old girl, he out free. So he asks if this is the same person. First of all, me are no spokesman for nobody. I talking on issues. This is the Dharam Lal that asking that that question. And let me go on for some more before I bring in CC. Let me go on with some other matters. The other matter, that is the conspiracy to commit fraud. Again, I say the other matter is before the court, and therefore I'm not at liberty to go into any details, but it says the allegation is that on March the 26th, March the 29th, on April the 2nd, 2019. Let me repeat that. It says that on March the 26th, March the 29th, and April the 2nd, 2019, that I robbed the leg of an assistant superintendent, right? Without our permission during the course of a meeting. That is the allegation. Not buggering Dharam Lal, not raping. Again, that is what it says. Sexual offense, using the broad thing, sexual offense, and people jump to conclusion. But the charge is saying that on the 26th of March, the 29th of March, and the 2nd of April 2019 at police headquarters in a room where there were other people, that I robbed the leg of this police officer without our permission. That is the essence of the charge. Dharam Lal, again, I say, nothing to do with buggering, nothing to do with raping. Because you as a buggerman, you would know about them things. You were alleged credibly to do that. So, and you ask the question about the question, therefore, to be asked, and it's a rhetorical question asked, why is it that Paul Slow is charged for these offenses, or for this offense, or these offenses, it's 3 different days, and you are not? Ask yourself that. Why is it that Paul Slow is charged with this offense of sexual assault, and you are not charged for buggery, for rape, and for grooming a 16-year-old indigenous girl? And you know why? Because the system is broken. The system is broken. That is why Slow was charged, and the system is broken. That is why you weren't charged. And let me remind people, the allegation surfaced that Nigel Dharam Lal, the Minister of Local Government, groomed this girl. She was a contestant at some beauty pageant. He sponsored her. He groomed her. He provided her with money. He invited her to his residence. The story is that she had some suspicions. So she walked with her little brother. He put the little brother from 10 he entered the place. He put the little brother for watch TV downstairs. He took her into the room and immediately he raped her. He caused her to suck his penis. Those are the allegations. And then I ain't saying sodomy. Then he buggered her. And she explained in detail the excruciating pain and all the ordeal she went through. And she said when he finished with that, he ejaculated. And I get it rare, as the Guyanese say, break punch it. And say 2 pot spoonful. And then he said, I own you from now. That is the allegation against Dharam Lal. And he was arrested. He turned himself in. He was arrested. The house that the locusts, they revisited the scene. They claimed that he painted over the room. He rearranged furniture. That is the allegation. And I said before, and I'm saying again, that the only way he could have done that is because the investigators would have alerted him that you said the room and the place looked like this. So in other words, when they went there to do the visit and found the thing different, then that would have worked towards discrediting her story. That was it. And then she was kept in custody because she was denied legal representation. She was denied outside communication. And then eventually, when the file went to the DPP, this is all part of the corruption. The DPP said they want some further clarification. What? What further clarification? The law is clear that in a case like that, you don't need corroboration. So on the basis of the statement and the other evidence that you have had, that was sufficient for the DPP to charge. Did not charge. Corrupt system. So it went back. And when it went back, then now, you hear from a release of the police, that how the young lady says that it is in our best interest not to proceed any further with the matter. And let me repeat that. A 16-year-old, and the DPP can say that a 16-year-old female can determine what is in our best interest, whether to proceed or not with this matter. Corrupt system you benefited from, Dharamlal. Corrupt system. So to come and to ask, I have nothing to hide. I'm looking forward to the trial. And to say to you, the one with the fraud started Monday after 2 years, 4 months, and 5 days. The other one, this sexual assault charge, and even start yet. There's a lot of dancing and ducking. Bring it on, man. Bring it on. 2 years, 4 months, 5 days to that one. And I suspect it'll be much longer for the next one. And you can come and ask any question, Dharamlal. Let me bring in CC at this stage for him to have his say, man. CC, I just send the thing to you. Let me hear what I was saying about shameless Dharamlal, man.
It would have been better if Dharamlal had stayed quiet, and he didn't say anything. Because he mentioned your name, but he implicated me also, because I'm a co-conspirator. I'm a co-accused. And I wonder why he didn't mention other persons. We only get one charge, one trumped-up charge. I wonder why he didn't mention Irfan Ali, who had 19 fraud charges. I wonder why he didn't mention Ashley Singh, who was charged. I wonder if he mentioned Dandalal, who was charged for thieving law books. I wonder why he didn't mention President, who was also charged. And not only charged, that the government changed and the DPP, the politically inclined DPP, null press those charges. We ain't running to no DPP to null press any charge. We have in our day in court, it'll take over 2 years, and it started, and it's going to end shortly. And I could bet me bottom dollar that he's going to end at no case submission. Why does he mention other issues? Talk for rain and talk for sun too? And then when he want to portray maybe that he's an angel, all the elements of rape was in that allegation. And when I used to teach rape, I used to say rape is forceful, unlawful, carnal knowledge. And the evidence was there where we forced the girl. It was unlawful because she did not consent. And they had carnal knowledge because the male organ, you had penetration, the male organ entered the vagina, and I'm gonna be raw, and the male organ went and enter the anus. And he has, according to the evidence, we had he ejaculated and he said 2-pot spoon. So all those elements of rape, forceful, unlawful, carnal knowledge was there. And the DPP masquerade. And they had a girl for weeks, from one person to the next person, from one group to the next group, interviewing that she get fed up. And that was the intention. She get fed up. She can't take it no more. And then we hearing about $20 million and house slapped and scholarship being paid. Why you don't address those things? And car also. Why you jumping in you, Paul? Let us have our day in court. They already give us bogus charge. We waiting for a day and we starting to get our day. So if you want to bring up the thing there, we could talk to. We could talk about 19 fraud charges. We could talk about charges for thieving law book. We could talk about other charges. And we could talk about the politically controlled, the politically inclined DPP not pressing those matters when there are compelling evidence there. So it's better than that stay quiet. Better he stay quiet, Paul.
But you can't, you can't stay quiet because I got some adjective to describe you. A despicable, vile, nasty, depraved, repulsive, obnoxious person. That's just a few adjectives to describe you before he stay under the rock that he crawl for a couple morning. I guess he coming out now because he's still getting paid. That is the word that he's still getting paid and he's still getting a lot of privilege and so on. So he can come out. But let me make this point too about this allegation. As I've said before, the allegation is that this thing took place March 26, March 29, April the 2nd, 2019. 2019. Charges were filed on the 19th of May, 2021. Let me repeat that. Allegation is that this sexual assault took place, this rubbing of the leg took place on the March 26 and 29, April the 2nd, 2019. Charges were filed on the 19th of May, 2021, more than 2 years after. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why, right? So Dharamlal come out, and let me tell you something. Some people say you shouldn't bad with it. I said no. You can't allow them to come out with these false things. Well, it's not false instead of the charge, but he's trying to throw shades. And therefore, people got to know the facts. Because when people look to see Dharamlal saying slow charge with fraud and slow charge with sexual offense, then they will tend to believe because they're there in newsroom. You're there in newsroom, there's a PVP mouthpiece there in newsroom. Right? So and then there the thing is, look, the same Dharamlal talking. Let me read something else here to you. Are you bear with me, man? I get the facts, I got the then we get Kaicho News. Kaicho News. In a dramatic turn of events, President Irfan Ali Tuesday night announced that rape-accused local government minister Nigerian Dharamlal has resigned from his post as local government minister and member of parliament. Dharamlal's resignation came just hours after the Director of Public Prosecution, Shalimar Aliak, SC, stated that, well, there's an extra we got to put. When I say SC, I suspect some letters are left out. So SC is the first letter. I believe 3 other letters are left out there. I got to check it up. I got to do research to find out. Shalimar Aliak, SC, stated that in the absence of the schoolgirl's complaint against him, there is no legal provision for police to proceed with the matter. That is what they think, this cockamania story that the DPP came with. Because my thing is that when the file went to her first, there was sufficient evidence, prima facie evidence for her to proceed. And I say, again, I did the research and the lie is clear. And them is liar, me and liar. They are the liars. The thing says in the Enriquin case that to say that a prima facie case was established is not sufficient. That is what Ian Chan ruled. And that is what the Privy Council ruled. That to say prima facie case is not the only basis on which a charge should be instituted. They say you should also look to see if the charge has the prospect of being successful. So it's prima facie and that the charge can be successful. And I'm saying, without any fear of successful contradiction, that in the Dharamlal rape allegation, buggery allegation, you have the prima facie evidence, and you also, those charges could have been successfully prosecuted. So you're coming, then is Animal Farm. All of us are equal, but some are more equal than others. And the disgusting thing is that people like Dharamlal, who should climb in a rock, or better yet, go in some open grave and stay there for as long as possible, they came in out. And for the Guyanese and people who know the term, don't that I am speaking wrong English. Coming out, that's a word coined by our president. Coming out. So they came out from under the rock or from wherever they were, and to come to talk a lot of nonsense. And then, in addition to that, let me pull up the phone. In addition to that, remember Niger Dharamlal as minister, right? They take away his visa. The US are taking away his visa, and then they give back his visa. And when they give back his visa, the allegation is that he went in New York a lady by the name of Zainab, Zainab, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Hussein, the mother of Shanaz Hussein, write a long thing and related how he show out the mushroom to the thing and try to get the little girl to go to hear the hotel. While he, according to the letter, while he was on government business in New York, then in the hotel room trying to get this little girl to go to him in the hotel. Dharam Lal, that is the man who's showing shades at Paul Slow. That is this despicable character, right? And don't forget too that Dharam Lal was accused. Let me pull up the next one here, man. Dharam Lal was accused. Remember the story? The office of the director. Let me read the next one here. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutors recommended that no charge be instituted against People Progressive Party parliamentarian Nigel Darnlal, who is accused of issuing threats to an official of the Inter-American Development Bank. Communications Officer of the DPP's chamber, Liz Rahman, the same person, in a statement noted that the matter was settled privately between the two parties. It was further noted that the two complainants in the matter made separate statements dated 21st of May 2016 to the police requesting no further police action to be taken. Dharamlal, a former permanent secretary of the then Ministry of Marine Affairs, allegedly threatened the IDB officials at Common Lodge, East Coast, Demerara, while the officials were speaking to his ex-wife. That is what was alleged. That he was the IDB official was speaking to his ex-wife and he threatened the man. And then they said they settled. And this is the same Dharamlal. And Dharamlal, the last thing before I move on, because I'm not going to spend much time with you. Last thing before I move on, let me remind you that in 2010, when you were the local man for the Cricket World Cup 2010, the T20 Cricket World Cup, you was the whatever post they call it there, you were the man in charge. Remember, I was the security director. Let me repeat that. Cricket World Cup 2010, when you were the CEO of Guyana Organizing Committee, I think that was the correct designation. When you were the CEO of the Guyana Organizing Committee, I was the security director representing the West Indies Cricket Board and Guyana on that committee. And I am aware of a lot of the stories. So tickle me, let me wine more. If you believe I really whining this morning, tickle me and let me wine more. Despicable Dharamlal showing shades at me. Despicable Dharamlal. Visa revoked, get back your visa under some whatever, for whatever reason, travel to the US on government business, I assume. That's what the lady saying in the statement. And the man doing all sort of thing in the hotel, showing out the mushroom. Well, I guess they have to get good vision to see them thing there, them little thing. You have to get good vision to see. But it wasn't anything formidable. That's why I understand. Nothing formidable. A joker like you. But I'm not spend much time on you now. But come again, real and come again, and I get more things to talk about. You come again, and I can deal with it. As I said, tickle me. Let me whine and bend over. And I ain't whine and bend over because we know you're a bogama. You ain't gonna risk that with me, because that's the last time you will ever risk it on anybody. So when I say I'm whining, and maybe you're getting excited that this old man gonna whine and bend over, and then you're gonna crawl up. Don't risk it. Risk it. Go to the wrong body. Risk it with me or go to somebody else and see if that this is not the last time you attempt to rape and bother any person. But let me ask you, see if you get anything to say on this before I move on. See anything you want to say about this matter?
No, let me close up. I think you've said enough. And then the only thing they mentioned about mushroom, maybe that's why dildos come into play, man.
Well, exactly, exactly. Because he's the same man in parliament to tell your fellow parliamentarian, you want a dildo. So maybe he knows enough about dildo because the mushroom is not sufficient. The mushroom don't do the work. So that is why he think. Yeah, somebody reminded me he's the same man who, when the judges made a ruling, said the judges should be defrocked. A despicable man like he. But you can't be too disgusted because they're in the PPP and they seem to attract these type of characters. Kwame Makai, Daniel Lal, Ganga Prasad, the one at Nine Carl Singh, all of them. Jagdeo and excluded. And I got a special program to deal with Jagdeo. I have a special program maybe next week to deal with Bar Jagdeo. Y'all tickle me. Tickle me. And I'm not afraid, let me say this, I'm not afraid of y'all. With all the subtle threats and more than subtle threats, I am not afraid. I am not afraid. I'm aware of all that is going on. And I'm not afraid. I'll speak some more about that at the end of the program. Well, let me move on. Let me move on. See, there's a matter that we have to enlighten the public on. Let me try to find it here. We did say some time ago, we said we would talk about the Venezuela issue, which is really an issue that should get attention. But you see, we did at hour and 20 minutes already. So the last thing we want to address, is an issue came up recently with, I saw tape. Let me tell you what I saw. I saw tape where it appears that the police patrol was responding to a nice nuisance complaint. I'm not sure which location it was. But what the tape showed, the police came up, the patrol, one policeman at the gate was closed, a man behind the gate, and the police was telling him that he got a report of nice nuisance. It would appear that when the police roll up, the nice had stopped or stopped when the police came up. Because the man is saying that, well, I turn off the music. Some neighbor complained and I turn off the music. The police was insisting that he should come to the police station. The man said, but for what? Why should I come to the police station and the music turn off? And the police was insisting that he should go to the police station. And the man remained adamant that he was not leaving his yard to go to the police station. Well, let me say a lot of things in this matter. And this is training. I ain't knocking nobody. I'm not knocking the policemen who are there. Obviously, they don't have the requisite training. But the first thing that came to mind, you're taking the person, you're inviting him to the station. You obviously got to arrest him to take him. On what basis? If the complaint was made about this nice nuisance, first of all, you turned up, and according to what they were saying, that the noise had stopped. So you can't give evidence that you hear any noise. So it would be dependent on the complainant. Did you get a statement from the complainant to say what was transpiring? The police are over, the police telling the man that they have a zero tolerance for nice nuisance. Fine to have a zero tolerance, but you have to do the thing correctly. Because what should have happened then? You have to get a statement from the complainant before you even have any authority to invite or to arrest the person. And understand this, when they talk about nice nuisance, loud noise or loud music is something very subjective. Let me repeat that. When we talk about loud noise, loud music, speaking loudly is something very subjective. Very, very subjective. And I recall some time ago, the Environmental Protection Agency provided the police with decibel meters. And the purpose of those meters is to measure the amount of noise. And therefore, some scientific or some person with the scientific knowledge can tell you if the reading is this, whatever it means. But let me understand it. You can't just decide, well, the person making noise. What is noise? And this is the type of training that these policemen must be undertake. They must undergo this type of training. What is nice? As I said, very subjective. I mean, we know my blasting music and the man, we know. But the point is that when you go into court, if the person should be not guilty, you go into court, you have to prove to a court what is nice. You can't just go and say, well, the person is playing loud music. What is loud music? Loud music for me might not be loud music for you. What is loud music? So I'm saying that these things need to be taught so the policemen are not embarrassed. And the next thing is, in this same matter, why, given what was transpiring there, why was it necessary for the person to go to the station? Why? Why you couldn't have gotten a statement from the complainant and proceed by way of summons? That seems to be a lost art. Everything is arrest. The person is known. The address is known. They don't want to come, fine. Proceed by way of summons. I know that back in the day, summons was one of the most impactful things, because when you committed an offense and you believe it was all over and done with, a couple of weeks after that, you get a blue paper. I think that was the color. CC can tell you what is the thing. You get a blue paper, and that used to be a very eye-opening thing, because you really thought the matter was over and done with. And here you have a situation where the thing comes and you got to summon to attend court to answer a particular charge. But again, it's training. So CC, I want you to come in and to try to enlighten these junior ranks on what correct action should be taken in cases like that. Please, CC, over to you.
I know they had training with the EPA, and I think they were given some instruments too. But if the report is made, the police has got to entertain the report, the occurrence book, and they need to. The person, the complainant, has got to enter into a recognizance to prosecute such offender. That they got to give you a written statement. You got to be in position of that. And one of them, the main elements of that nuisance, it got to be loud and continuous. Important ingredients: loud and continuous. Here's it. The police gone to the man said, well, I don't turn on the music, you don't hear no music playing. The man got to go to hear the police, so you wanted to arrest him. It's good thing the man was in a cage of place, so he can't him, because I sure the police would have arrested. Loud and continuous noise. And you already say, you used to get blue paper. I think the summons now in white because of certain things that people used to be afraid of the blue paper. Proceed by way of summons. One read, I'm going to prosecute you by way of summons. And you go and write up the summons and get a magistrate to sign the summons, and you literally serve the summons on the person, and you make out a return of service. And if it going elsewhere, sometimes you go to a JP and swear to an affidavit. And all those things are placed into the case jackets. So that when the magistrate talks and you tender them in evidence, but no, you're going to tell man, I want you to the station, you got to come to the station. Them thing is nonsense. Loud and continuous noise. And also, the person who's making the allegation, the complainant, has got to enter into a recognizance, and according to the words in the law book, to prosecute such offender.
Well said, my brother. Well said. And you see out front part saying the same thing. There's no nice level set in law. Noise is a subjective assessment, and that's what I'm saying. Out front part, you're correct. It's a subjective. It is very subjective, and that is why you have to get, even when you have the decibel meters out, the court. Again, let me say this: when you go before the court, you have got to prove. You have got to prove to the court that the offense was committed. And you can't just go to the court and say, well, the person is playing loud music. What is loud music? As CC said, it has to be loud and continuous. What is loud? What is continuous? You have to get, the elements have to be established. Right? So to say that there is zero tolerance, which I fully agree with, there must be zero tolerance on loud music. I agree with that. But then police, you have to go through this training. You have to train them. If they have the decibel meters, then you have to train. And even that, who is going to give the evidence in court in respect to the decibel meters? You have to get expert evidence. It's the same thing with the breathalyzer. It's the same thing with the radar gun. When people be not guilty, you have to go to court and give the evidence about the calibration of the meter and all of these things. And this is the type of training that needs to be done. Because as in this case, when the man decides, me, I'm going nowhere, I am going nowhere, then police really know what to do. Police say, is at zero tolerance. And again, I say I'm not knocking the policemen. You have to knock those who are in authority and responsible for ensuring that the policemen are properly trained and not confronted in these situations. Because you throw them to the wolves, basically. You throw them into the wolves. You're leaving them on their own. You throw them under the bus, so to speak. So, folks, that is why I want to say this morning. I told you at the start of the program that we have so much to talk about. I alluded to the issue with Venezuela. And because of the importance of that issue, we didn't want to shortchange you. So we have decided, let me repeat, so we have decided that tomorrow, Thursday the 28th at 11 o'clock, we'll have another episode of Speaking Out where we will address this Venezuela issue. I believe it is important enough to keep on the front burner and to keep addressing it because Venezuela is ratcheting it up. Their aggressive stance towards this issue, and therefore we as Guyanese must be aware first of what is going on, and we must speak out, and not only speak out, we must come out, or we must be coming out against this old Venezuela saber rattling. So tomorrow at 11 o'clock, we're going to have a program dealing almost exclusively with the Venezuela situation. Having said that, things are happening so quickly and so frequently in Guyana that we don't know what's going to happen between now and then. We don't know what's going to happen between now and 11 o'clock tomorrow. If something breaks, we might very well have to address a few other issues. But the majority of the time tomorrow, God's willing, will be dedicated to dealing with the Venezuelan issue. CC, your closing remarks, my brother.
Okay, just want to make a point that there's another attempt, another move made to indigenize the divisional command of the Guyana Police Force. And I'm specifically getting to region number 6. We had, and I'm going to call him Deputy Superintendent Davison, who was appointed in letter by the commissioner as second in command of the division. For reasons unknown, he has been reverted to his position as officer in charge of number 1 subdivision. And here we have Superintendent Stanley has been appointed as the second in command. So you have the commander of one ethnic group and the deputy of the same ethnic group. And if you may remember Stanley, when Brutus took us to court, he was joined by Stanley. He was joined by others, Jupiter, the same ship, Bacchus, and others in the case against the Police Service Commission. And when that service commission was formed, remember the chairman on the 4th of July last year said he was waiting on the list of recommendation, and on the second 250 something persons were promoted. And I had a whole lot of irregularities. Stanley is one who was promoted to superintendent. So payback time for challenging the Police Service Commission got promoted. Now he's Deputy Commander Region number 6. The thing is that they have resurrected, and by the way, the chairman of the Police Service Commission is a bishop. So he, like Jesus Christ, or we got better than Jesus Christ, he resurrected Dr. Lawrence Peter, and Peter talked about promoting incompetence. So here is it. They promoted a whole lot of incompetent people, and here is it as part of the indigenization of the regional command. Stanley is now 2IC region number 6. And I'll talk more about the indigenization of the command position in the Guyana Police Force at another forum.
Right, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Let me just respond to the light one. He said we should stop talking when we don't. I don't know if he's referring to us or somebody else. He said other countries have nice level and actually show the person the reading upon their visit. Similar, yeah, but you have to have the law to deal with that. You have to have something which says that this is the maximum level according to the decibel reading. That is what happens with the speed gun. That is what happened with the breathalyzer. So to say that countries have it, yeah, countries have it. Countries have it, but you have to have the necessary law to say what is should be the maximum reading on the machine, the decibel counter. So I don't know if you're referring to us, the presenters, or if you're talking to someone of the students in the class, but I thought I'll make that clarification. So folks, as we said, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and for those of people who don't know, tomorrow in Guyana is a public holiday. I think it's Idul, what is it? I can't remember. It's a Muslim holiday tomorrow. It's a Muslim holiday. And so we're going to make that opportunity. I suspect a lot of you will be at home. This morning, I should compliment the students in class. We had perhaps a record number of live students in class. I think it would be a record. just about a record number. So we're going to be here tomorrow at 11 o'clock. We are going to be here. And as I've indicated before, when these issues come up, I don't think, and this is in response to your request, I don't think we can sit back and wait for a whole week. We can't sit back and wait for a whole week to bring this thing to you. It gets stale by then. And we want to give it to you when it is fresh. We want to give it to you when it is fresh. Not like Dharam Lal, not the freshness like Dharam Lal, where he deflowered a little 16-year-old and making us other comment. Not the type of thing I'm talking about. No. We're not talking about that. We are talking about coming here to give you the credible information before it gets stale. So I want to ask you, I want to implore you to share, let people know. I'm going to post the thing about tomorrow's episode, but I suspect those students who are not in class today, even though I suspect a lot of people, a large percentage of the students were here, we are going to deal tomorrow with this Venezuelan shit. Now, there is Human Nabi. There is this Human Nabi. I remember well now is Human Nabi is the holiday today because I had a friend used to tell me is Human Nabi holiday. Is Human, he used to say Human Nabi. Is Human Nabi. But my friend used to tell me, say, hey, is Human Nabi holiday tomorrow. So that is the holiday tomorrow, Human Nabi. And we are going to be here at 11 o'clock to bring you the news. I encourage you now, as I will do, to go in and try to find this meeting in Washington, D.C. I understand it's supposed to be live on social media. I go in and find it now to follow what is going on, to follow. Because I know back in Guyana, people sitting down uncomfortable, they can't sit down flat. And I'm waiting tomorrow for when a certain man can sit down, for sure he's squirming. Can't sit down flat, he's squirming for one fag, he's leasing for one fag, and so on. That is the way. The truth will get them like that. And I will say this, as I indicated, I am not afraid of telling the truth. I am not afraid of telling the truth. I mean, they're issuing us out of threats and so on. What are they going to do to Paul Slow and all of that? But Paul Slow is not afraid. I am not afraid. I will continue to tell the truth. And if telling the truth will cost me, cause my demise, I will still continue to tell the truth. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. I will tell the truth. And I say again, anything that is said on this program you want to contradict, come, you're free to do so. You are free to do so. But so far, they have not done so. So far, they have not. The Attorney General the other day and talk a lot of crap. And me ain't done with you yet. Let me warn you. So you believe 2 weeks passed and I didn't respond. I have not finished. I'm like that. Very tactical. I will come at the right time. I will come back at the right time with the facts. Right? So let me understand. No done as you like. You start this thing. And I am going to continue with it. I am going to continue. I'm going to continue telling the truth. The truth makes you uncomfortable. That is what you. So, folks, until tomorrow, Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, stay safe. Stay safe. Remember COVID. Remember, because I understand COVID making a resurgence. Remember COVID. Remember dengue. And remember the roads of Guyana. This dangerous place, the roads of Guyana. So until tomorrow, stay well. Bye.